Okay, here we are. We have the 17-time Grand Slam champion, legend, Gigi Fernandez. Gigi, how is your day going?
I just finished Gigi with the camp in Tampa at about 2 p.m. It was good. We had 8 3-5s or 7 3-5s, and a person who thought there were 3-5, but there were not. And sometimes that makes it hard. But
so they thought they were 3-5, and were they lower than the 3-5? Yeah.
Yeah. So I learned a little lesson. I work really hard to vet players, like check their A rating, I check their dynamic rating. I'll call them. I actually talked to this person before she came. Sometimes I call her if I'm not 100% sure, if I'm doubting, I talk to the pro. She didn't have a pro I could talk to, so I kind of went with it. Next time, I'm going to have anybody who's not rated, doesn't have a dynamic rating or USDA rating, has to send me a video, because it makes it hard for everybody. Hard for me because I'm managing different levels, and it's hard for the other players because, when you have a 2-5 playing with 3-5s, that's not great. So that's a bummer. But it's the first time it's ever happened. But I know it's not going to happen again because, you always learn from your mistakes, right? And then I came home. My daughter had a soccer game. I'm having a beer.
Gigi's living life.
I'm happy to have this conversation. I have some notes. I have all the notes that we need.
Oh, cool. Now, one thing is, my day is going fantastic. The only thing that's happening right now, though, is sometimes you're going in and out. You kind of look like you're on a space capsule.
How weird.
Yeah. Guys, hello from Athens, Georgia. Hiram, nice to see you. Now it's coming in better. Michael Schumann's on, Pete and G. So, guys, what we're going to talk about, we're going to dive right into this. And I can see we're already building a nice little crowd here. So we're excited that you are on. And that is weak links in doubles. I want to talk about maybe playing against weak links, and then also maybe like weak spots on the court that you always are looking for. But how much of it was on the tour to where, especially if it was a new team you've never played before, did you and your partner look and try and figure out who you're playing and try and figure out who's the better one, who's not the better one? Did you have someone scout, your coach go around and I can tell you what they do well and what they don't do well? Or did you not do any of that?
No, absolutely. Oh my God. We had the full book on every opponent we played. I think it was very rare that I played against someone that I didn't know, that had not played before or had not watched play. It's super important. I know that recreational players don't have that luxury because you don't. Hola, hi Marianne from Argentina. Recreational players don't always have that luxury. They usually play with someone against someone they've never seen, but you have to start in the warm-up. You have to start in the warm-up to figure out your opponent. Like, the warm-ups in tennis are not for yourself. Like, you're not doing a warm-up to warm up your game. You should have warmed up your strokes. Hopefully you warmed up your strokes before you went on the court. Really, the warm-up is used to assess your opponent. So what I do now, when I sometimes play recreational tennis and don't know who I'm playing, I want to hit with both players. So I will hit for 1 minute with the person I'm hitting with, and then I switch with my partner, and then I'll hit with the other person. So I want to see how they play. While you're getting balls to your opponent, you're try to look at them. I know it's just hard sometimes for people to be focused on the other side, but in the warm-up, you really have to be focused on the other side. At minimum, you have to determine if they have a better forehand or a better backhand. That's like number one. After the warm-up, you have to be able to go to your partner and say, I think her forehand was better, or I think her backhand was better. Then when they come to the net, same thing. Give them forehand volleys, give them backhand volleys. You might discover in the warm-up that one of your opponents has no backhand volley. Okay, so that's a weakness you're going to attack. And then with the overheads, also make sure that you give them overheads over the backhand side. I would say 85% of the recreational players that are out there have a high backhand volley weakness. So give them some high backhand volleys, and then you can see right away if they don't have that shot. So that's why you use the warm-up to start figuring out who's the weaker of the two. Now, if you hit with both, you should have a pretty good idea who had, a heavier ball or who had better ground strokes, better volleys. But then you and your partner should come together after the warm-up ends, after the 5-minute warm-up ends, and you should talk. You say, okay, the one in the red shirt seemed to have a good forehand. This one looked better than the other one. And then you always immediately start playing. If you already know who the weakest player is, you immediately have a strategy that is going to attack the weaker player. Now on tour, because we already knew who we were playing and we knew their strengths and weaknesses, then our strategy was 100% based on the weakness of the opponent. So, when you're covering the net, well, when you're serving, you go, forehand body wide or forehand body backhand. And you have to mix those up. Even if somebody has a weakness, you cannot not hit to their strength because they have a weakness. You have to mix it up. But also, I lost my train of thought, but totally lost my train of thought. I had a brilliant thought and I lost it. But yeah, so you want to make sure that you don't always hit to the opponent's weakness because, if you hit enough balls, they're going to get good at it. So you want to still mix up hitting to their strength and to their weaknesses.
Yeah, that first of all, that was a great answer. You gave me more than I was hoping for. I'm like, wow, this is great. He's getting that was a lot of gold right there, guys. And we're almost at 100 people on. So make sure that you share this. We got some Gigi followers here as I see she's saying hello to people. So you know what? Share this on your Facebook, on your Instagram, guys. I want someone, Elizabeth, go right now, make a TikTok dance video and tell people to come and watch Gigi. So we want as many people as we can get on this because she is really dropping some knowledge.
So a couple of the things that you have to check. You want to check the mobility of the opponent. Like when you're hitting ground strokes, just kind of randomly give them a short ball and see if they move up to it. Mobility is a big issue in recreational tennis. So if you ever play that's not mobile, you're going to attack that weakness. That's obviously part of tennis. It's not gamesmanship, and there's nothing wrong about it. If they can't get back for lobs, then you're going to lob them. If you've determined who the weaker overhead has, you always want to lob the weaker player, right? If you're playing mixed, that's generally the women. If you're playing two players, there's always going to be one player that has a better overhead, right? So don't think you have to hit your overhead cross court or your lob cross court or your lob down the line. You're going to lob the weaker player. And if you can lob over the backhand, even better. If you have a slow player, hit drop shot returns. If you have players not mobile, just hit drop shot returns. If one player has a volley weakness, hit to them, right? If you have somebody who's inconsistent or doesn't have big ground strokes, return come in. So put them in pressure, two at the net. If you don't have great ground strokes and you have two at the net, that's a lot of pressure. And then you also want to check their temperaments, like which player is more even, which player is going to get riled up. And it's important to know who might kind of lose it, right? Because, what I tell my students, there's always two battles going on when you're playing tennis. There's two competitions going on. There's physical competition, and that's, your forehand versus their forehand, the backhand versus the backhand, and there's a score, 15-30, 30-40, and that's the physical competition. Who's going to win that? Who's going to win the last point? There's also the mental competition going on, and you're in a mental battle with your opponent. And who's going to win the mental battle? Who's going to be mentally tougher? Who's going to have the upper hand? And usually the person who wins the mental battle wins the match. But it's very rare that you win the physical battle and not the mental one, right? The mental one is the more important one of the two to win. And a lot of times you can beat somebody who is better than you if you win the mental battle. So check the temperaments of the other two players and try to figure out which ones could maybe get more riled up, hit a return at them, do things as part of tennis, right? You hit the ball at someone who they might not like it. So play the mental game as well as the physical game when you're out there.
Wow. First of all, we just went over 100. So Elizabeth, you must have done your TikTok dance video. We really appreciate it. We need some. Kirk, now it's your turn. Kirk's got to go make a TikTok dance video.
TikTok? Who does TikTok? That's like kids do TikTok.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Oh my God.
TikTok is so. I'm not on TikTok, by the way. But It is
I
so
know.
popular. I mean, you know, it's like everybody's on
So
TikTok.
isn't it all kids? Isn't it all
Huh?
kids on TikTok?
Not
Isn't it all
anymore,
kids?
though. Not
Really?
anymore. A lot of adults are now on TikTok. But yeah, it's just a joke. It's just my point is share it, guys, because first of all, I was just about to say, Gigi, you are always great on these live streams, but you have to bring a beer now every single time because you're like on fire. I think you're like at another level.
It's apple juice. It's apple juice.
Oh, whatever. You're at another level tonight. I mean, you're just like crushing it. I can't even keep up with all the. You've given so many great tips. So
that's a lot of information in 10 minutes.
It was yeah.
Hold on one second. We need more light. Hold on. I'm gonna open this.
Getting more light. All right, Gigi's getting more light, and while Gigi's getting more light, I just want to. Yeah, now we've got the light on Gigi. Okay, so let's go before we go into the pro and kind of pro tips. What a lot of people might not know is Gigi, which I can only imagine. In fact, if I had to play you, I think I'd protest. You play USTA League tennis. Am I right on that?
I'm a 5'5", yes.
You're 5'5".
I just got bumped up to 5'5". I was 5'0" for the last 2 years because I played 10-0 mixed in Connecticut, and I was a 5'5" woman playing with a 4'5" guy, and we got crushed. Like the woman cannot carry the guy mixed, and then so we would play 5'0" guys, and they would just destroy us. I mean, I lost 6-2, 6-1, 6-1, 6-0. So that bumped my rating down to 5'0". So I was 5'0" for a while. And my team went to nationals last year. Now I'm 5'5". But I am done with competitive play. I am officially a pickleball player, competitively.
Wait,
I love pickleball.
Are you serious? You're playing pickleball?
I love pickleball. Oh my God, it's the funnest game other than I just love it. I mean, it's very similar. I was playing platform tennis or paddle when I lived in Connecticut. And that was a lot of fun. But with paddle, you have to hit against walls, because you have to hit the angles of, like, you hit the ball off the wall, and that can be a little bit hard for a tennis player to figure out. But pickleball is mini tennis, right? It's just mini tennis on a tennis court. Okay, so I am lethal.
We've got to play a tournament together. Because here's the thing: I have not played pickleball yet. And I've been thinking about it just for fun. First of all, guys, I am not really a competitive tennis player anymore. I love to coach. I love doing this stuff.
Right.
And I still love to hit a ball. To me, there's nothing better than just that flow of this rallying cross court.
Yeah.
But I have been thinking about I just want to try pickleball. Now, some people say to me, like, oh, that's cool, Pete. And then other people, like, literally, because they follow me online, they're so loyal to me. They look at me like they're pissed. Like, you pick up a pickleball racket, I'm
quitting.
Driving.
Well, so, I'll give you fair warning. It will mess up your tennis game.
Yeah,
it will mess it up. Like so I was playing pickleball for like 3 weeks. I was playing maybe twice a week. I was getting really good at it. And then I went to Philadelphia and I did a Gigi Method clinic at the Philadelphia Cricket Club. And when I do the clinics, I always demo the drill, right? So here's the first drill. We're working on movement patterns in the net for optimal poaching, moving at the net, and then you poach. And I did 6 demonstrations, and all 6 times I missed the ball. Literally, like, just missed it. I mean, it didn't swing and miss, but I either hit the frame or hit outside the court. Like, I just did not hit the ball in the court. So it's like, oh my God, I was so embarrassed. But so then the next time I played tennis, actually it was for the Martina camp. Martina was here in a camp, and I'm like, I have to hit because I cannot miss. I cannot start swinging and missing on these demos. So I hit a couple balls. I hit for like 10 minutes, and then I got my game back. But the adjustment from one to the other takes a little bit of time because with pickleball, you swing as hard as you possibly can, and the ball doesn't go anywhere, right? Because it's a wiffle ball.
Yeah.
So
because I go back and forth, Gigi. I'm glad you're having fun with it, and we'll get back to the mindset stuff, guys. But I think this is probably a conversation for a lot of people. But when I literally have an angel and a devil when I talk about pickleball. Like, I look at it, I'm going, well, no wonder everybody likes pickleball. It's like everything that's hard in tennis, you get away with in pickleball. You don't have to serve, which is a tough thing to learn in tennis. And coaches are always telling their students, don't swing on volleys, but you can have the most disgusting looking swinging shot, and the pickleball is going to go in. So no wonder, because I'm like, you're not getting the art of tennis. But then I look at it and I'm like, well, everybody who plays tells me they like it and it's fun. And
it's a lot of fun.
Since I have good hands, I'm like, you know what? I'd probably be pretty darn good at
it. Yeah.
pickleball.
So I got pickleball certified last week.
Oh my God.
And I'm going to have a pickleball camp coming up probably in February.
No way. Okay.
I would have a pickleball camp. I have a comfort. I mean, I'm not leaving tennis. Obviously, I'm not going to leave tennis. It's, I know tennis really well. It was interesting going through the pickleball certification because you have to like look at a player and analyze them and figure out what they're doing wrong. Well, with tennis, I can practically do that with my eyes closed. I mean, I can look at someone hit 2 balls and I can figure out what they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
But the pickleball was like, are they doing, I don't really know what they're doing wrong. I don't know how good of a pickleball coach I am yet.
It's like there is no technique really. So
no, there is definitely technique. Absolutely. There's definitely technique. There's transition, there's movement, there's a lot of strategy involved in it. But I burn 500, almost 600 calories in 1 hour playing pickleball. Oh, there's Ian. Ian, we're talking about pickleball.
Yeah. Ian's got a really cool thing going on right now with all these matches and stuff. I watched. I had like a little break today, and I watched that guy Mark, who's just insane, play his buddy, and that was pretty entertaining. But all right, let's get back to the week link.
Sorry.
But first of all, just one last thing on who's mad at Gigi right now that she likes pickleball. Like, you can be honest. Okay? I know she's a legend, but who's a little mad at her right now? Because I know if I was saying it, not you, Gigi, I get people like, Pete, I'm done with you, man. I know.
That's hysterical.
You get a little more leeway because you're a legend.
Oh, Larry's on the fence, he says.
He's on the fence. Okay. All right. So here's what we've done so far. We've talked about the warm-up, and then we've kind of determined, okay, this person's got a weak backhand. They don't move so well. We're looking at the temperament. And you're actually, that was kind of cool because I was wondering, I was like, am I thinking about this too much? Or would they actually, her and Natasha, get together and say, okay, we've never played this person before, but their backhand looks weak. But you actually did that before the match even starts, it sounds like.
Yeah, and it was not, oh, that's what I was going to say before that I forgot. And now I just remember. It was not that the backhand was weak because most pros don't have a weakness. Like they don't have a bad forehand or a bad backhand. They just have a shot that's better than the other, right? So, for example, if we have a person hitting a forehand here, right? If they're hitting a forehand, is their inside-out forehand better than their cross-court forehand or their driven forehand? Or if they're hitting a backhand here, do they have the sharp angle roller, or are they better hitting the ball flat, right? So if you have somebody who's hitting the ball flat, then we would cover these two and we would leave that one. If we had someone who could really hit this dinker, then we would cover those two, or she would definitely cover that, and then I would have to cover both, right? So it's more about that. Like inside out, if you're over here, this inside out backhand is very hard. Natasha was that's probably why we were so good, because she could hit the inside out backhand like no one in tennis ever has. But if someone doesn't have that shot, then you cover these two. But if they have that shot, then this person has to cover that, and then this person has to cover both sides. So that was what we were trying to decide, who covers what shot from which player.
Okay, so a lot of the weakness on the Pro Tour is deciding how do you guys, like, where are you going to hit and where are they going to hit?
Right, what are you going to cover?
And what are you going to cover?
Which shot are you going to cover of their forehand? Which of the three options is the weakest of the three, right? So if you have a forehand here, this person's hitting a forehand, they have three choices. They can hit the alley, they can hit the middle, and they can hit the cross court. Right? You see that? Can you see my board? Hold on.
I can maybe bring your camera up a little. Oh, yeah. Look at that.
So if somebody's hitting a forehand there, they can drive it here, or dip it there, right? And some people had that shot was really good. Like Conchita Martinez could hit that shot sick. And some people just had flat balls. Like Hingis could hit all three. That's why she was so good. Like, and you couldn't tell, you couldn't read it. So she could be hitting a forehand and go there with the same consistency and with the same accuracy, and you're just kind of guessing half the time. But most players had two, not three, right? Most players could hit two out of the three, so you would kind of give up the third option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then once the match starts, and how much on the is it the same in a game or on the changeover? Like, is it more during a game you guys just kind of talk about, okay, like, let's do this first serve down the middle, I'm going to poach, you're going to stay? Or are you still talking about the opponents? And I notice she's getting more and more nervous, or they're missing that shot. Or is that more saved for the changeover? Or we're like, okay, let's talk about how they're doing and who we're going to attack.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If we detected that somebody was playing bad or was getting mad or was just going through a rough patch, we would definitely talk about that. It's like, okay, let's play so-and-so. Let's play Julie, whatever, whoever it was. And then we just, whenever possible, but we never, but the thing was like, you always have to hit the right shot. You would never, at the pro level, you cannot hit the wrong shot to the weak player, because neither player is really bad. You still have to hit the high percentage shot, hopefully to the weak player. But if the weaker player is at a place where that's a too low of percentage shot, then you wouldn't hit it there. You would still hit the right shot. You always have to hit the right shot, because I mean, like I said, there were not true weaknesses. It was just something was better than the other.
Little minor.
Yeah, very minute. Yeah,
very minute.
So, the other thing in this conversation, my phone wrote this down. There's also your team's weaknesses, right? What if your partner's weak, right? You get sent out to play with someone, and you don't know them, but you figure out pretty soon that they're a weak player. Wait, who said Gabby Sabatini was cuter than me? Oh, was cuter than me. I like that. Thank you, little raspberry.
And I mean, it's embarrassing for me to say, but I did say this on one live stream. I had a crush on you, and you were cuter than Gabby.
Well, I think I'm nicer, for sure. I think I'm nicer. I'm more like engaging than she was. She was very shy. No, I love Gabby. She was great, but she was very shy. But anyway, okay, so let's get back to tennis. So if you're playing with a partner and you know they're weak, okay, so what are you going to do? This is very important. So the first thing is you want to hide ground stroke weaknesses on the inside of the court. So if you have a weak forehand, you want to play the outside, because you're not going to get a lot of forehands there. You're going to get mostly backhands. If you have a weak backhand, you play on the deuce side, because the backhand's in the middle, and you're not going to hit as many balls from the middle as you do from the outside, right? Now, if you have a weak volley, you want to put the weak volley on the outside. So you want to put a weak backhand volley here, because there's not many balls go there. So, and also you want to do formations. So say you know your partner has a very weak backhand volley. Just serve in the formation. You do Australian formation, you go here. Now they have a forehand volley there. Like you can always hide your weakness in doubles. You can always position in a way that you hide your weakness. This is a legal serve formation. This is legal. Your partner can stand to the left of you when you're serving, right? There's nothing, like I actually used this to win Connecticut State Championships with my high school team. I had a girl here who had a very weak backhand volley. She was a great volleyer, but she had her backhand volley under pressure. She hacked down on it and would go straight up. So they were returning to her backhand volley with lose a point. If I put her here, they were still returning to her backhand volley with lose a point. So I put her over here and I said, okay, you serve and you're going to get the next ball, wherever it is. So the next ball would come here. As she's hitting that ball, she's running to the net. And now she has her front volley in the middle. So there's always creative ways to hide your weaknesses when you're playing.
I think you tapped into something there, and I've seen we had Pat Whitworth, who's a master professional. He's down here in Georgia. He's actually a coaching legend, and he has a whole thing on different formations, just like you've shown, to where we always watch the pro game, and we're always trying to model that, but
don't do it.
It's completely different, and that there are so many creative spots and things you can put yourself in, to where in doubles you can hide a lot of stuff that you just can't hide on a singles court, correct?
Correct. And then the other thing is, you don't want to mimic the pros. By and large, you don't want to mimic the pros. I'll tell you what, here's a very basic example of why you don't. Why do the pros do I formation? Do you know? There's a lot of reasons, but you can name a few, right?
Well, go ahead. You tell me. I don't.
You tell me. I want to hear you. Why would you do an I formation?
Well, here's one reason that I run an I formation is sometimes somebody's just crushing backhand return. So then you force them to go down the line, and now all of a sudden, you take them out of the zone. That's one of the plays that I like to. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. What else? Put you on the spot.
What else?
Okay, so I just kind of gave on this one. Like, okay, so where we were here, what they're hitting a backhand volley poach here. How many recreational players can hit a backhand volley winner on a poach? Hard, right? I mean, 4 plus.
Very hard.
Right, but if you do a formation here, now you have a forehand volley poach. Right? They have a backhand volley poach. You have a forehand volley poach. But that's not why the pros do it, because again, the pros don't have weaknesses. The number one reason, what you said to make him hit down the line if they're really ripping across court is true. But the second reason we used to do formations is so we could get the serve to a weakness, right? So especially on the outside, like when you're standing here, it's very hard. It was very hard to hit that return to the backhand if this person liked to run around, right? So because of the angle of the ball, if you're standing here and you're drawing angles, this ball is going towards you. So they could run around and hit forehands all day long, right? But what you do is we would stand here, and now you can hit the serve straight down the tee, and then you can get him stretching on the shot, right?
Yeah.
Sounds great. That's why the pros did it. But I could hit my serve 100 miles an hour and land it there and get this person stretching. But with recreational players, when the serves are not as hard, if you hit a serve there and it's not hard, what's going to happen? They're going to turn, they're going to step in and hit a return cross court.
Yeah.
This is a long distance run. Very long. With the backhand or here with the forehand, right? If you serve here and they hit across court, you're going to have to run. So what I tell players is they have to serve wide or to the body. So here, if you serve wide, if you hit the serve wide, it has to come back to you.
Yeah.
If you hit it to the body, they're going to get jammed, and that's a really hard one. But if you hit it here, then they just hit across court, and you're in trouble. So I don't think that unless you have a huge serve, you should not be serving to the tee on Australian formation.
You're bringing it tonight. You're on fire. This is the Gigi method that we're learning. This is very, very good.
Right. Sometimes I almost wish I hadn't called it that, because when you call it the Gigi method, it sounds like some thing that I invented, right? It's not. This is how you play doubles.
Yes.
This is how doubles is played. It's just like how you cover the court, how you deconstruct the court so you're covering the largest majority of the shots that are likely to go in.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go back to the Pro Tour for a little bit, because I know people are interested in that. Would you guys have specific practices like this is the Martine, you're playing with Natasha, but maybe you're going to play Martine or something like this. Like in this practice, we're going to be working on, this play that we know that this pro doesn't like, or we can exploit, or we can open up something to then hit to somewhere else.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. Like the warm up for a team was very specific to whatever that team was. So if we knew we were going to do I formation and Natasha was going to go left or right, we would practice that. I would practice serving to the spot and going one way or the other. We're mostly, for us, we were lucky because we were, the best team in the world. So it's the other team that had to figure out what to do. We were usually just doing our thing. And if we did our thing well, then we were going to win. But there were definitely different things that we would work on depending on who we were playing against, that we would warm up in practice.
Okay, cool. And this is what I love about this conversation, because we can go to the Pro Tour and then we can go to you as a coach. So let's go to you as a coach. Now you're playing with the weak link. You're playing with the weak link. What are some of the biggest mistakes people make when they go, oh man, my partner, this is painful. Like, what do they do wrong? Because you still got to play the match and you might as well win. And you know what? That person might be incredibly an awesome person that you should really become a friend with. So what are the big mistakes that people make?
Well, the first one is putting them down, or even judging them. Because just because they had a bad warm up or they had a bad match the last time, you don't know how they're going to show up that day. Anybody can have a great day, right? Just because they had 2 bad matches doesn't mean the third one's going to be bad. The second mistake is you overplay. You overprotect their court. So you start pinching the middle more than you should. You start covering balls that are not, you start coming over here a little bit more, and then you're just leaving your half open, right? So you expose yourself because you're trying to protect for them. But I mean, the reality is, if they're really that much worse and not playing well, then you kind of have to. But the main thing is you have to be positive and encouraging. Like, you have to be super positive with them and super encouraging. And you always tell players, you can help your partner play better. I'm sorry, you can definitely do something to make your partner play worse, but you can't do anything to make them play better, right? I mean, you could just trash your partner and be negative and say mean things, and they're just going to crumble and play bad. Or you can just be positive and uplifting and try to help them play better.
Yeah, I mean, what I've seen.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, what I've seen through the years is a lot of trying to stifle a partner. When you feel that you are better, there's a lot of I've seen a lot of directing, stand here, do this, I've got that. And it kind of reminds me of the evolution of Michael Jordan. It's like, yeah, Michael Jordan could literally win a game by himself, and he won a lot of games by himself. But some of the most classic plays in Bulls history is watching Michael Jordan pass the ball to Paxson, pass the ball to Kerr. Like, having that trust, and you need that. You need to have that player who's maybe not as good as you have the confidence, because you're going to need them to hit a big shot in the big moment. That's the biggest mistake I see.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you're playing with somebody who's much worse than you are, but you just got to stay positive and not overplay.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, this was pretty amazing. Do you have any other parting thoughts, or
let me see what I've done. No, I think I covered it. Covered up my notes.
She covered it. Like, this whole day has been amazing. This Super Saturday. Some people didn't know what Super Saturday was. Can you believe that?
Come on. I would believe it if you came to tennis late, right? I mean, I actually have a long history with Super Saturday. Would you like me to tell you about it?
I would love to know about your Super Saturday experiences. By the way, Super Saturday, if you don't know, guys, is the U.S. Open Saturday, where they played the men's semifinal and the women's final, and I imagine they played the doubles final too, correct?
No, so they would play the first men's semis, then women's final, wedged in between the other men's semis, and then the women's doubles, or not the women's doubles final, because usually that was the finals were on Sunday, but a lot of times it could be a semifinal. So I'll tell you what happened to us 2 years in a row. In 1993, we got to the U.S. Open, and we were trying to run. So we won Australian, we won the French, and we won Wimbledon. So we went to the U.S. Open, kind of got through the draw, got to the semifinals, and guess when we had to play? After all that, center court, Super Saturday, fourth on. Just like the dreaded time to play. I mean, after the two men's 3 out of 5 and the women's final. So the first time, I think the women's final was 7-6 in the third, and we ended up getting on the court like at 9 or 10:30 at night or some crazy time, and there was no one there. And it's like, why are we even playing right now? We could just have to play it on grandstand at a normal time. Yeah. So we lost. We lost our chance at the Grand Slam. Oh. So it was disappointing. And then the next year, the same thing happened. 1993, we won the Australian Open, we won the French, we won Wimbledon, and we get back to trying to win the Grand Slam, and we get scheduled again. Only this time we were smart, and we started bitching and complaining, excuse my language, to the referees at about when the first match took 5 sets, our coaches went to the referees. It's like, you got to move them. You got to move them. And they started bugging, you got to move them, you got to move them, you got to move them. And then finally they moved us, and they put us on Grand Slam, but we still lost. Oh. We didn't get the Grand Slam.
So what do you do?
Both times in the semifinals.
What do you do all day when you see this happening? Do you guys, do you just hang around the tournament all day? Do you go back to the hotel?
No.
Like, what do you do?
If you have a late match like that, the U.S. Open is tricky because it's far away. It's like, 45 minutes to an hour to get there and back. So if we would probably hit around 3. We would probably just chill in the morning, go hit around 3, and then you just sit and wait. If it's a location that's close, where you're playing in a venue that you don't have a 1 hour drive there and back, we would hit around 11 and then go back to the hotel and then stay in the hotel till the match before was about to go on. And then we'd go back and hit for like 20 minutes right before we, maybe when the second set of the match before went on.
That is really tough because it can sap a lot of nervous energy, right? Waiting around hour after hour. You're almost tired going on.
We're used to that. That was not a problem. It was just that you just didn't want to play after 2 minutes matches ever because you just couldn't gauge it. You couldn't tell if it was going to be a 2-hour match or a 5-hour match, especially on clay. So it was very hard to get prepared because you just didn't know if you were going to play at 5 or 10. That's a big gap. So, but I mean, you adjust. You get used to it after so many years of doing it. Something flew. Sorry. So yeah.
Well, very, very good. This was great. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
All right. My beer ran out, so I got to go get another one.
How do you plan dinner with
a match? That's a good question. You don't have dinner. You probably, like, I did not want food in my system 4 hours for a match, nothing heavy. So if I was playing at 9, I would have a meal around 3:30 or 4. And then from then on, I would just maybe have an apple or a bagel or a banana. The problem, again, when you didn't know the time, if it would extend, then it's like, what do I do? Do I eat or do I not eat? So that was the main problem with the, playing third on after 2 minutes matches. You didn't really know what to eat. But yeah, you want to have, if you're playing at night, one really big lunch. If you're playing in the middle of the day, a really big breakfast. I don't think people eat big enough breakfast when they're playing a match at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So who is Vermont Ponies that just said my camps are so fun? I need a first name. Somebody from Vermont. They are fun. My camps are fun, yeah. Nothing like it, really.
When is the next?
If I must say so myself.
When is the next camp?
Well,
that people can actually sign up for.
November, December, January, February. November, December, February are sold out. Hi, Lily. Good to see you. I know Lily. That's from Vermont. So the January camp, I'm holding a January spot for a team. I want to work with 8 players on a team. So there's a spot there. And then March is Indian Wells. I have a lot of interest in that. 33 deposits for Indian Wells. And then I will add camps April and May. I'll probably start offering those in December or maybe in November.
That's great. Shelly actually lives 15 minutes from me. We've done lessons together, and she loves your camps.
She can. Hi, Shelly.
Shelly's pretty darn good, by the way. Shelly's a baller and obsessed with tennis.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it good to have one person be aggressive and the other defensive? It's a good question.
I mean, not so much defensive, but you have the setter and the finisher, right? You have, if you're in the baseline, you're trying to set up your partner to finish point for you. But you don't really want to be defensive when you play doubles. That's not something that I would advise to be defensive.
Not at the pro level, certainly.
Right.
Are the clinics on Hard True?
They're hard try. Yeah, they're hard true. Yes, they're at Innisbrook Resort in Palm Harbor, which is about 30 minutes from Tampa Airport. Beautiful resort where they play a men's golf tournament, the Valspar. There's 4 golf courses, 12 tennis courts. The staff is fantastic, and I've been doing camps there for 2.5 years now, and really enjoying it.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you have Michael connected, you're going to have a workhorse.
Hi, Michael. And I also, a little birdie told me that Martina's coming back. So I'm pretty sure we're going to have another camp with Martina in April of next year. So if you want to come to camp with Martina, go to my website. There should be somewhere. I'm gonna say, make sure you're on my list. Like, go to my website and get on my mailing list. There's a sign up there on the front page, and then you start getting my emails.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, guys, this was amazing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put in Gigi's special link. Let me get Gigi's special link real quick. And if you get a lifetime access pass to TennisCon off the link, Gigi's got a bonus for you. That's good till the end of the weekend. And she'll send it out to you Monday or Tuesday or something like that after the dust settles. And so this is Gigi's special link right here. Make sure to click on it. I'm going to put it here in the chat. So basically, you can grab it, go there, sign up, get yourself a lifetime access pass to TennisCon 4. We're closing registration tomorrow. all these amazing live streams that we've had throughout the last week too, I've decided that I'm actually going to take them off YouTube and put them into the membership area. I mean, they'll still stay on YouTube, but they're kind of hard to find. But I mean, we're gonna grab them, download them, put in the membership area for you guys, so that you guys know where they are. Because I think a lot of people love these live streams, and you can have those too when you get your lifetime access pass, as well as Gigi's bonus. It's like a no-brainer. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Okay, so I just want to say, I would just want to congratulate you on an amazing tennis con. Number 4, you really do an amazing job getting not just me, but all 39 other coaches together. You guys have no idea how much work this is. I'm telling you, like, you should be charging $970 for all the work that goes into putting one of these things together. So thank you for doing that for all these players. It's really remarkable what you do. So thank you for that. And I see Karen. Hi, Karen. Karen, you can.
Awesome. That's great. Well, thank you for that, Gigi. That means a lot, especially coming from you. And I'll let you get back to your family, because it sounds like it's going to be a fun Saturday night around there.
Yeah, we're burgers are cooking, so I got to go eat.
Go eat some burgers.
Bye, everybody. All right.
Bye, Gigi.